in today's session of Divorce Court. After nearly 5 years together, Tanisha and Marvin Shoffner split up. And when they got back together, Tanisha was pregnant with twins. Now, after 6.5 years, the marriage is over. And Marvin says he's tired of paying for children who may not be his.
Leave the twins at home, crying at the door. They wondering why daddy don't love them.
I have to pay child support for children that's not mine because I was a man when another man wasn't.
When we got married, he promised me.
Have all the sex you want if you want to. As terrible as I think it is, but why you always have to bring these other children into it, I'm sick of it.
Today, Marvin Shoffner finds out whether or not he's the father of Tanisha's twins as she faces him in today's session of Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. Judge Mablean Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
This is the matter of Tanisha Shoffner versus Marvin Shoffner. Mrs. Shoffner, I understand you have 4 children,
Yes.
and you're asking this court for a support order in these divorce proceedings. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am, it sure is.
You have a 9 and a 10-year-old.
Yes, ma'am.
And a 7-year-old twins.
Yes, ma'am.
And you say your husband picks up the older children?
Yes, ma'am. He picks them up and he takes them out, spends time with them, buy things for them, and he leave the twins at home crying at the door. They wondering why daddy don't love them. My daughter looks exactly like him. I don't know how he could stand there and lie like that. I mean, he neglects them. He don't spend time with them. He always make up these sad excuses stating that he don't have enough room in the car to take all 4 of them. He don't have room at his apartment for them to sleep. What? Yeah, he don't give them. He makes promises to them.
What do you mean you don't have money to pay for anybody else's kids?
Your Honor, Tanisha knows perfectly well when she was pregnant before we wasn't even together when she got pregnant.
That's a lie.
Right?
That is not true.
Now, wait a minute, Ms. Shoffner.
Right.
The same
We
rule
wasn't even
applies to
together
you.
when Tanisha got pregnant with the twins. You know what I mean, she got pregnant by somebody else, and then
Wait a minute.
once the
According to
father
these
stepped
papers, you've
up,
been together for 10 years.
we've been together since my son was born. I mean, but we've been separated since then. During that time, she got pregnant by somebody else.
So there was a period of separation.
Yes, yes.
And how long was the separation?
The separation was until we got married in '94. But we were separated from maybe '92 to '94.
Excuse me, Yana, he doesn't even remember when we got married. That's how serious our marriage was to him. It was 1993. And not only that, when we only briefly separated for about a good maybe 30 days after I had our second son. We got back together. Yes, we both separated and we did date other people and during that time, but we were together for a whole month.
We need to be quiet so I can understand what she's saying.
We were together for a whole month, Your Honor. We were together for a whole month, and I found out that I was pregnant. This was right when we got back together. After we got back together and I told him that I was pregnant, I did tell him that it was a possibility that the child may, because I didn't know I was having twins at that time. I told him that it's a possibility that the child may not be his. He told me at that point in time, it didn't matter to him. He loved me. He was going to marry me, and he was going to take care of us, and it did not matter to him. We were back together. We stayed. He was there with me during the whole pregnancy. But at the same time, he told me, and he assured me, and he lied. He told me to my face.
Hold on a second. I don't care about his assurances at the moment. But you're telling me that once you were living together without the benefit of marriage.
Yes.
You had 2 children.
Yes.
A 10-year-old.
No, they wasn't that old at that time.
Well, now they're 10 and 9.
Yes, ma'am.
Those 2 children.
Yes, ma'am.
After the 9-year-old was born, at some point you separated.
Yes.
And for 30 days only.
Yes.
During that period of time, both of you saw other people.
Yes.
Yes.
You reconciled.
Yes, ma'am.
After you reconciled, you realized that you were pregnant.
A month later.
A month later.
Yes, ma'am.
You said to him, I'm pregnant. I'm not sure if the children, or at that point believing it was one,
yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure if this is your child that I'm carrying or this other person's child that I'm carrying.
Yes, ma'am. And at that point in time,
his reply was,
it doesn't matter. I love you. I want to marry you.
All right. And he married you.
Yes, ma'am.
Now,
yes, ma'am.
Mr. Shoffner, did you say to her when she suggested and advised you that she was pregnant and she was not sure?
Tanisha
that it
called
didn't
me.
matter?
She advised me that she was pregnant. She asked me to pay for abortion for her.
That is not true.
I told
Mrs.
her that I
Shoffner, be
would
quiet
not,
for a moment.
that she was pregnant by another person and she wanted me to get abortion. I mean, I told her I would not have nothing to do with getting her abortion. After the guy left her, we had started talking, we reconciled. I told Tanisha that I loved her I mean, I will be there, I will step up, I will be the father for him since he's gone, I mean, and I ask her to marry me.
So then you decided to marry her, be a husband to her since you had been a live-in, and be the father for the child that she was carrying, be it one or two.
And my kids.
And the other two children, of course, that you have no doubt are yours.
Yes, I have no doubt.
You got married.
We got married.
Child was born, turned out to be twins.
Yes, 2 kids.
You're still not sure if this is your children.
I know they're not mine.
So did you ask for a blood test then?
No,
At the birth?
No, I
did
didn't.
it matter to you?
No, it didn't matter to me. I was trying to be a husband to her, and I was trying to be a father to the 4 kids.
Did you put your name on the birth certificate?
Yes, I did. I did put my name on the birth certificate.
And you claimed them as your children?
Yes, I did.
And ever since they've been in this world for the last 7 years, you are daddy?
Yes, I've been daddy. I've been taking care of them. I tried to be, like I said, a husband and a wife.
See, that's the thing about it. I never.
She dropped the boys off at me every.
I never.
So the problem now is that he's not paying support.
Yes.
He's not spending time with the younger children.
Yes.
He comes to pick up the older 2 boys.
And
now he's making a distinction between the twins. Is that right?
Yes, and not only that.
And you say he's the father, and you say they're not my children, and that's why I don't pick them up, or I'm not sure.
Your Honor, I don't pick them up because Tanisha is a user. She's trying to use me. Just like she's trying to take me for child support after I, stepped up to the plate and be a man when the father of her children left. She gonna try to get me for child support just like when I go to pick up my boys. I try to pick them up. I try to spend time with my boys too. I pick up the twins too. Yeah.
Our boys.
Our boys. I try to pick them up too when I can. She tried to make me get them all the time. If I don't get the twins, I can't take my boys.
Well, when you said I wanted to step up to the plate to be a father, that's what you did.
That's what I did.
But listen to me before you agree to me too fast, because you don't know where I'm going now.
I know where you're going.
And I've been known to take you down another path.
I know where you're going.
All right. Don't be too quick. If you stepped up to the plate to be the father, and that's what you decided to do at their birth, and you signed the birth certificate and said, I'm going to be the father, you can't 7 years later walk away from the plate.
When divorce court continues.
Issue you should have thought about before you laid down and opened up your legs with that man. It's rough, but it's right.
If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or email us at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues as Marvin Shoffner testifies how he tried to be a good father to Tanisha's twins.
I tried for 6 years. I tried to be a husband to her. I tried to be a father to them. I mean, Tanisha is lazy. She don't want to clean. She don't want to work.
The two of
she
you
don't
are
want to
separated.
help.
Wait a minute. The two of you are separated.
Right.
Obviously, you have problems.
Right.
But you're picking the 2 older boys up. Right?
Right.
And you've made a distinction, and you're no longer picking up the twins.
I picked them up. I pick them up when I can. I can't get them every time. I don't have enough money.
Why can't you get them when you get the others?
Because I don't have the money for that. I don't have.
You don't have the money. What do you do with the older boys?
Though I take them out. I take them out to ball games. I mean, I take them out to the park. Whatever I can.
But
I
you
can't take all
said
the
I'm
kids.
going to be the father for these children.
Yes.
So if in fact you agreed to do that, you're now the father of 4.
And
so you have to do it.
Tanisha does not work with me with this. I mean, I've tried. Like I said, I tried.
This was a mutual agreement that we was going to do. We had already planned on reconciling at that particular time.
Okay, but people always plan to reconcile.
Okay.
People plan to be married. That's what you did when you took the vow. They plan to stay together forever. It doesn't happen.
That's true, but he promised me that he was going to love me. He was going to take care of us. And not only that, Your Honor, when he got ill with cancer, Your Honor, I took him.
He promised you.
You dropped me.
Mr.
You kicked me out
Shoffner,
before I was
quiet.
finished my treatments. What you talking about?
What you're saying to me when you say he promised me he was going to love me and take care of me and treat me right and be there for as a father, that's what everybody promises in marriage. That's what you stand before your audience and say. To death do us part. Love, honor, cherish. So this situation is no different. The only difference here now is that you have a set of twins that you're upset that he's not assisting you in caring for, and you want him to do that as well as the older boys.
Can I tell you what type of person she is?
No. Both
Can I just tell you a story, please? I mean, I just got it because you're making me seem bad. Look,
I haven't made you seem anyway.
For the twins' birthday, she called me.
What did I say? Did I say yes, you could tell me a story, or no?
I'm sorry, Anna. Sorry. It's just...
Now, I think somebody said you took a paternity test. Yes.
Yes.
But Mr. Shoffner, I just have one question.
Yes.
What's the difference?
What's the
in the
difference?
children now and 7 years ago if the paternity test proves that you're not the father?
I have to pay child support for children that's not mine because I was a man when another man wasn't. When I tried to be a father to her, I tried to be a husband for her. I tried to raise our kids as a family, and she didn't want that.
So if you didn't have to pay child support for them, you could be a father to them.
But that's how she is in it. I can't never pick up the boys, the older boys, without getting the twins every time. I can't buy nothing for my older twins without her.
I asked one question.
But this is the way she is.
Yeah,
I didn't ask you how she is. You've told me that.
But this is why I separate myself from her.
Good, and you can separate it and stay separated. All right? Get divorced. Let it be final. Yes. Quickly. Yes. It'll soon be happening. Yes. My point is, if you could be there for the boys 7 years ago and they were not, you weren't sure if they were yours, what is the difference now?
There's no sure about it, Your Honor. I knew they wasn't mine. The difference is I cannot possibly pay child support for 4
children. Okay, the difference is you would have to pay support for 4 as opposed to 2. All right.
Not only that.
Your Honor, not only that, though.
Did I ask you a question?
No.
According to this DNA parentage test report, he's excluded as the father of the children, both of them, and the probability of paternity is 0%.
Okay.
It was 0 when we met. It was 0 when I married her.
No, when we got married, he promised me. He said from
you know what, Miss Shoffner, you need to stop yelling and telling me that when he got married, he promised you that he was going to take care of those kids.
But he ran
Miss
away.
Shoffner,
Be a wife.
every husband, potential husband, every potential wife gives that vow. All right? Don't tell me that again. Now, what is happening here is this. You went out during the separation from Mr. Shoffner. You had a little fun. You had sex, all in fun, with no intent to produce children. Just biological gratification. Am I right? You didn't intend to produce any more children?
No.
Now that father is gone.
Because he ran him away.
You know, nobody runs a real father away. And these are things that you're not facing facts and facing reality, and you're blaming everybody else. Nobody runs a real father away because you couldn't run a real father away. If that man wanted to be the father of these children, he'd step up to the plate and be the father. And come hell or high water, he'd be there.
Just like I did.
And nothing could run him away from them. The man left his responsibility because he didn't want it. Now, you're faced with a situation where Mr. Shoffner now wants to leave the boys, the twins, the boy and the girl, Terrence and Terranique, and not be the father. You got a second person who now wants to walk away from these children and not accept the responsibility. You're faced with the problem of, but I can't do it all by myself for all 4 of them. Issue you should have thought about before you laid down and opened up your legs with that man. It's rough, but it's right. What you should have thought about. I am sick and tired of people walking into my court, 2 adults, laying up, having fun, having sex, never thinking about the consequences. Have all the sex you want if you want to. As terrible as I think it is. Take all the risk you want with your life. But why you always have to bring these other children into it who don't have a choice? I'm sick of it. And then walking in here crying about he promised when you're going to have children, the thing you have to think about is, can I provide for him if he walks away? Can I provide for him if she walks away? You don't have them dependent on somebody else. Because the reality of life is the divorce rate is 67%. So you're likely to divorce. The other issue is you lived together 4.5 years. You had 2 children by him. Mr. Shoffner left. Should have been a clue then. Don't go out and have any more, because I now have 2 that I'm really here basically dependent on for support. If Mr. Shoffner gives me a court order, you don't know if you're going to get an order because you say, I can't find him, don't know where he is. Even more reason you should have been certain not to have any more children. And don't stand up here and keep telling me what he promised to do. You shouldn't have had those kids depending on him to do it. Shouldn't have married him depending on him to do it. Bottom line is your responsibility.
When divorce court continues, Marvin Shoffner pushes the judge too far.
To pay child
Take
support.
him out of here. Please, quick.
Closed captioning for divorce court provided by. If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or email us at www.divorcecourt.com. Divorce court continues as the judge tells Marvin what it means to be a real father.
So here's what I'm saying. You have assumed the role of father. You've been what we call the de facto parent. You signed the birth certificate. You accepted the responsibility. Unfortunately, you should have gotten some advice before you did all that, because now you're stuck.
I'm stuck.
You're stuck. You can't do it today. Yeah. This is not a game we play with children where I'm going to be the father today, tomorrow I'm not going to be the father. Right. I'm going to be the father if I'm with the mother and I love her, but tomorrow I'm not going to be the father. You are stuck.
Your Honor, you don't understand. I'm not
you,
trying to...
You don't understand. Just be quiet. Not only are you stuck emotionally, you are stuck financially, because you said when you stepped up to the plate, which was all good and noble at that time when you were in love and your emotions were running high and your little self was running hot.
No, I wanted to be a man for my family.
That's what
I wanted to be a husband.
And you know what?
I wanted to make a woman out of her. That's why I did it.
You need to be quiet, both of you. And that's my point. When you stepped up to the plate, you thought it was for the right thing to do. Yes. And it was. And you know what? It's still the right thing to do. That's all I'm trying to say to you. Because we're talking about two children who will be destroyed emotionally. You just can't walk away from them.
I'm not trying to, emotionally, I'm not trying to walk away.
And you're not going to walk away from them financially either. It's unfortunate, but you stepped up to the plate. That's what it means. Should have gotten you some legal advice and said, what effect will this be if I put my name on here as the father of these children? I can't leave these, because otherwise I leave these two children out here with nobody to support them except what she can do, and she can't do it all by herself. It's what we call de facto parent. You can't agree to be one today and change your mind tomorrow.
Well, I didn't agree to it. First of all, I don't even remember signing a birth certificate. If you can show me a birth certificate with my signature I wrote, then that's totally different.
I don't have to show you a birth certificate with your signature. Now, until you get a contrary court order and you can bring in the father, the biological father, and establish that, because first of all, you allowed
already established. It's established right there.
No, it says you're excluded, but you were married.
Yes.
And when they were born, and you signed the birth certificate.
Yes, and we're not married because
Mr. Shoffner, this is not a debate. And I know it doesn't seem fair.
It's not fair.
Well, okay, life ain't fair. It's not fair for those children to now have to figure out, who do I call daddy? And the man that I thought was my daddy for 7 years is no longer my daddy.
I want him to call me daddy. I shouldn't have to pay child support.
Take him out of here. Please, quick.
It's ridiculous.
And I'll just make my order. I'll write it up and tell him about it. The order of the court is that he is ordered to pay child support for the 3 children in the amount of $300 per month. But I'm ordering you, Mrs. Shoffner, to go to the district attorney's office in your county to inform them of the true name of the father of these children.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand me?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's not fair on your part for what you've done to him in terms of that either. And to let the other guy off scot-free. That's not fair. I want you to go to the district attorney's office in your county, inform them of the name of the other father, of the true biological father, which you had knowledge of from Jump Street and should have filed on him and should have gotten a support order for that. And perhaps he's in a position to care for them. Who knows? And unfortunately, I can't order you not to have any more children, but I strongly advise you not to. You're not financially able to care for them, then you don't have to put yourself in a position of crying and going through changes trying to get somebody else to do it. You created this situation and you had some control. Court's adjourned.
All rise.
they get to have a dad that he said he promised that he was going to be.
She needs to take responsibility for herself and stop trying to use other people.
Yes, I am going to kind of try to contact the real father, and fortunately enough, hopefully, I will be able to get in contact with him.